So then how do you see that working? There's so much discussion about, working with centralized entities, banks, CeFi plus DeFi, whatever we're going to call it. I don't know
Yeah.
what phrase has been coined yet.
CDFI. Yeah.
CDFi, so if there's so much risk, and you're going to see the banks get involved in some manner. How do you see that evolving?
Right. So I think the issue with banks, from my perspective, is that right now, if a problem happens, they can just go in the database and just adjust everyone's balance.
Right.
Can't do that on DeFi, right? The bank doesn't have the authority to just go and put the tokens back, right? That's not how it works. So that's, I think, the biggest barrier in that sense, though. So I'm not sure how I'm not like a real centralized finance guy or anything still, um, but I'm not entirely sure how a bank would be able to really leverage some of this stuff. I think probably they're just going to approach it as an investment class, I guess. These crypto assets are something that you could buy and sell more or less, right? And then I guess they'll have sort of internal holdings that they would allocate to their customers, in sort of in a more centralized manner for them, where they kind of maybe I don't know, maybe I don't know, Chase Bank goes out and buys 100,000 Bitcoin or something, right? And then they just keep those 100,000 Bitcoin inside their little walled garden, and it never really goes back out into the wild. But then they can allocate those balances for their customers. I don't know, maybe something like that.
I think that makes a lot of sense because they're going to want that custody if they're going to bear that risk.
Right? Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, it's an interesting thought. Versus I think some discussions I've heard have been like, oh yeah, which are they going to work with Aave or going to work with Compound? Are they going to do this or that? And the more I think
So
about it, I'm like,
risky.
well, it's not only risky. It's like, okay, so if I could get 11% on something in Aave, what do you want to bet if that bank is offering? They'll rebrand whatever it is, and what do you want to bet that bank will give you 1%, and you're stoked because right now you're getting 0.01% in your bank.
Yeah. So
And
interest
so
rates are outrageous. Yeah.
yeah, interesting. So where do you see where are we at with DeFi adoption right now? Where are we at in I guess, are we in the infancy? Are we still in the first inning? Where do you see in general DeFi going?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, absolutely, it's infancy. I mean, just how long is it? It's been really only been picking up for 18 months, let's say. I'd say
Right.
I watched the DeFi Pulse Index, go from I remember when it hit a billion, 1 billion, and it was like, wow, right? So yeah, it's still very early for that. I think probably in the future you're going to see the meme stuff is probably going to die down. You're going to see a lot of things that are claiming to be DeFi that are not really DeFi. They're really just
Right.
kind of pointless stuff is going to eventually fade away still. But stuff that really makes sense, which is improving interest rates on stablecoin yields, that's the thing that everybody wants, right? I mean, you can put 10% yield in everyone's pocket in the world. I mean, there's a huge opportunity for that still. Just that still. Just getting people to trust a USDC deposit in a smart contract and get 10% yield. If you can create a user experience that's friendly enough, and you can create enough trust, that my aunt, my uncle, my sister who works in a bank and wants nothing to do with crypto, you get them to to trust that and to get into that. There's a huge opportunity there. So yeah, and then obviously the lending part of that as well too, being able to do leverage positions on chain by using these sort of money markets. If the rates for borrowing are competitive as well too. I wonder, it seems right now like the move would be to take advantage of the low interest rates for centralized finance like borrowing, and then put that, because I mean you could put that and get more
Yep.
yield than what it would cost you to borrow, right? So probably an opportunity there to try and link those two together. And I wonder if that happened, enough if that would like kind of self correct at some point.